That was another thing I was nervous about was, oh my gosh, if I come forward, people are going to think I'm a quack. Or, so either they're going to stop wanting to work with me, they won't take me seriously, they'll think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, or something else, or they'll have like a negative association. So once you sort of get past that and realize, okay, well, what am I missing out on by not doing it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Hello and welcome to another episode of Goddess Hangs.
Episode number 50.
Woo! We made it. What a milestone.
Oh, it feels
50.
very special.
Almost a year.
50. And you know what they say about episode number 50?
You get to do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
We are here. This is our second recording of the day. We had a really fun dinner together, and I think we're a little overtired, and this is probably going to be a silly, goofy episode.
So if you like that kind of thing, you're going to love this kind of thing.
So stay tuned. I'm Sadie, by the way. We always forget to introduce ourselves.
I'm Juliet, obviously. Sitting in my lap is sweet baby Boo.
Boo is here with us, yes.
And Mr. Cat just walked in the room to make his presence known. And this is a podcast that we started to make
the world of mindset, manifestation, and magic more relatable and fun.
So much fun. So here we are.
We have fun.
50 episodes later.
I know, it's crazy. 50 episodes, so less than a year. And boy, have we created and manifested some cool shit.
And today,
I think we'll recap more specifically in the one year. But we thought it'd be fun after we catch up to chat today about our journey coming out of the broom closet, because it was scary for both of us.
Very scary.
It took Juliet a little bit longer than me.
Yeah.
And not just the broom closet, but like, hey, I'm psychic and I can talk to dead people closet too. That's one.
That's a pretty big closet to come out of.
Yeah. So we're going to tell a little bit more of our story today. But first, Juliet, what's new with you?
You were going to say, but first, a word from our sponsor.
First, a word from our sponsors. Intuitive Magic Oracle. Have you seen this new Oracle deck presented by Goddess Hangs podcast? Boy, are you missing out if you haven't ordered yours yet. Link in bio.
Has this ever happened to you?
You have a question and you're like, boy, I sure wish I had the answer.
Intuitive Magic Oracle deck is here to help. Other decks are way too confusing and have booklets that are hard to find the answers inside.
Who wants to flip through page after page to understand what a stinking card means? I'm screaming into the microphone.
And
sorry,
in
Greg.
0.7 font, who has the eyes? I certainly don't.
I'm 30 now. I can barely see.
Intuitive Magic Oracle deck. The font is pretty big.
And thanks so much from our sponsors, Intuitive Magic Oracle. That was a great ad break. And we're back.
We're back. Link in the show notes and link in our Instagram bio to order the deck.
Yes. We're very excited.
We're very excited. Also, speaking of sponsors.
Oh, we have more ad breaks. One more. Wait, we have 2 more ad breaks.
Oh, no, not again. I don't have the right jewelry to wear.
Boy, I wish I had a piece of jewelry that just was straightforward about who I am.
I was seeing if you were going to go on further.
Like maybe if it said witch or goddess. So people knew when they met me what I'm here to do.
Well, lucky for you, Sadie, there is a new jewelry line that has just launched. It is a collaboration between small business babe owner Samara's brand, Outcharmed, and Goddess Hangs, co-designed and inspired by Sadie Olson and Juliet Piper. Wear the matching BFF friendship bracelet with us.
See if we can get some ASMR of it jingling.
Oh, dun, 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 dun,
Hear that? Those are your best friends.
That's the sound of friendship. The charm ring
doesn't make a sound.
Nope, but you could imagine in your heart. We have the witch necklace, the goddess necklace. What a time to be alive.
Also brought to you by the Goddess Hangs BFF Patreon. With 45 goddesses strong and counting, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to connect not only with Sadie Olson and Juliet Piper of the famed Goddess Hangs podcast, but 45 of your new best friends.
Have you heard of the inside joke Tarot's or influencer code Katie? You haven't? Well, get in the Patreon, because in addition to transformational moments, the best friends you'll ever have in your life, spiritual growth and awakening, you'll also receive a lot of inside jokes and memes.
That's true. We now have, I don't know, like 11 side chats. 12, is it more now? I don't know.
There are at least 10. The girls have even organized a secret Santa holiday gift exchange all by themselves.
Sans us. And we also have the Coven tier, which means you get to come to not weekly. Don't want to falsely advertise that.
A
monthly Coven meeting with us and your goddess besties. Sometimes we do spells, sometimes we do readings. It's always tons of fun. Anytime you hang out with Juliet and I, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna cry. You're gonna
have a breakthrough.
You're gonna have some goddamn fun. So I think the ads are over with now.
Okay, we're done with our advertisements. Thank you.
Thank you to our sponsors. Sometimes, you just have to sponsor yourself.
Oh my gosh. We do have a lot of fun, don't we, Sadie?
Do.
Looking back through the year.
As we go.
No, we'll save that for the 52nd episode.
Everyone was like, oh my God, they just did this a few weeks ago.
They just did a Halloween montage.
Oh, wait.
And now, don't worry, you're going to get another one in 2 weeks.
So, Juliet, what's new with you?
I didn't write anything down, so I'm going to think about it. But I know you have something new with you. Why don't we start with you?
Really groundbreaking, really important that I want to share with all of you. Something
oh my God.
Huge. If you're standing right now, you might want to sit down.
Buckle your seatbelt.
I was going to say, 1, 2, buckle your shoes. Are you ready for this? I got fake eyelashes that I get to, what do you call them? I got eyelash extensions. I don't even know what they're called. I don't have to take them on and off. They just stay on.
Wow. This is an episode of depth.
Zoom in. Just kidding. We're not going to edit it like that. I'm joking. But this is how I've been walking around the house since I got them, just blinking a lot. And Craig being like, yes, babe, I think they're gorgeous. But I want to tell a story because this actually is a really fun little manifestation journey for myself. So this is why I'm excited to talk about this, because this actually goes back to when we still worked together at the shop. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that Juliet and I worked together at a crystal and fine jewelry store. And Juliet was like the most amazing salesperson we had there. Stop. And I managed the office and also did all this display and was also the personal assistant. I wore all of the hats and low-key managed the place.
Sadie did a lot.
But this was kind of the beginning of me teaching manifestation. Was like at the shop, I was like, let's all make manifestation journals and do it every day. And some of the goals were, to do with sales and things at the store. But I was like, also include personal things or whatever. So this was at a time that I was still struggling with my skin a lot. And this is all going to relate back to the eyelashes, I promise. But I had such bad acne for so long. Like, you remember.
I do remember.
I struggled with my skin so much. And when I was working at the shop, one of the things I would write down in my journal every day was that I wanted to be able to afford a membership to Skin Laundry, which it was this laser facial place down the street. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like that place, once I got to go there, was really gonna reset my skin. So this past spring, I started going to Skin Laundry. So that was a big deal because it's expensive to get a membership there, because if you really want to change your skin, you need to go for like the big membership where you go like 3 times a month. You know, I was like, I'm going to invest in this. I can do it now. I'm going to change my skin. And I had always said from before I started my Skin Laundry thing, like, I just want to get my skin right. And then I'm going to start doing my eyelashes, and I'm going to get my eyebrows microbladed, and I'm like never going to have to wear makeup again. And I'm just going to feel so good. So it was like a really cool part of my journey, because I've been going to Skin Laundry since last like April, I think. And my skin is amazing now.
It's beautiful. It was always beautiful, acne. But now it's just clearer.
Yes. I think a lot, honestly, with my skin had to do with things I was going through, like emotional blockages. So I've also healed a lot, and that has also helped my skin, I think. But the Skin Laundry thing was this big thing I was manifesting. That was a big investment. I did it. And then this month I was like, I think I'm ready to stop going to Skin Laundry. I already go less times. I don't go 3 times a month anymore, but I was like, I think I'm ready to stop. And days after I said, I think I'm ready to stop going there because my skin is doing so great and I feel confident that it will stay. Then the amazing woman who does my nails, Carly, DMs me and goes, hey, my best friend is, training to be an eyelash technician. Would you have any interest in going to her for free? And I was like, the universe went, Sadie, we're so happy for you that your skin, you're feeling good. Go get your eyelashes, babe. And I was like, how fucking cool is that? Like, I kind of forgot about it. Like, I kind of forgot about the eyelash thing, that I always wanted to try that. And that was going to be my next step after I was done with Skin Laundry. And then the universe was like, remember you wanted to try this? Like, wouldn't that be fun? And so I got to go do it. And I got them yesterday at the time of recording. And I love them. I'm obsessed. I walked out and Craig goes, oh, they look gorgeous. You're going to be so addicted to that now. I was like, yeah. I woke up this morning and I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, I look stunning. It's amazing. I'm obsessed, and I'm definitely going to be addicted to them now. And it makes me so happy. And that it's just a cool little like full circle moment in my journey with like my skin and like feeling good about myself and my confidence. And I don't need to have perfect skin. I don't need to have eyelash extensions to feel beautiful, but boy, does it feel so good to be like, have worked towards this for a long time and like really invested in myself to make it happen because I wanted it. And like it just feels really good. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy, like, oh my god, I did it.
I'm so happy
we're here, baby. Now we just need to get the eyebrows microbladed. That's the last step.
Oh right.
Yeah, because they're so blonde.
Yeah, mine are pretty dark.
Yeah,
but I know some friends who've done the eyebrows and they love it.
Yeah,
they absolutely love it.
Yeah. So that will be my final step, which I just have to decide who I want to go to for that because I'm nervous because it's your eyebrows,
Irene probably has a good referral.
Did she get hers?
I know for sure she did it once. She might have done it again.
Okay. Well, I'll let you guys know. That'll be my next
comment. A good.
What's new with you? Look at my eyebrows. I love the way I make up them. So I'm like, I just want you guys to do this.
Here's
exactly this. No different. Thank you. Because it was a long journey to get here and how to make up them correctly. So that's my new with me is my exciting eyelash extensions. And then what else? Well, I don't know if we've chatted just us two since I closed Activate Your Magic. I
don't think we have.
So I also reached a very exciting milestone.
Oh, this is huge.
So since I started my business, the exciting number to me was my first 5-figure launch. And every time I launched, I would write that down and say, I'm manifesting the 5-figure launch, and I would believe it with all my heart. And then it wouldn't happen. And I would just be like, don't let this sink in. It's okay. Like, you're growing, you're figuring this out. And this is a good example of don't give up. Just because it doesn't happen the first time you really believed it would doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But I did it, and I not only did it, but I surpassed the 5-figure mark by a couple thousand more. Woo! So it was just, it's been a great month.
Oh my gosh. Sadie knows this, but I was sort of, following along and like, counting along with you. And when it happened, I partied at my house as if it was happening to me, because it was just so thrilling to see the journey and to see how it was possible. It was so inspiring, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
It was very, very exciting. And then I had the come down of like, oh God, how am I going to do this again? But
right. Well, that's normal.
It's a natural part of having a business. But yeah, it was cool. And then it was interesting because then, and I talked about this with the Patreon friends, but I was chatting with a friend who also has their own coaching business. I'm not really a coaching business, but similar, right? Mm-hmm. And we were talking about the energy of celebrating yourself and how that, like, it's really important to not like be like, oh, okay, cool, I did that goal, and kind of like type in the number into your spreadsheet and then move on to the next goal. Right. But you need to stop and take the time to celebrate.
Oh yeah.
And so I got intentional. I was like, I did celebrate. Like, Craig and I like did a little cheers, and I texted you and we chatted, and it was very exciting. But I was like, I'm going to take a little more time to like soak this in, soak in the feeling, be like, holy shit, you actually did this after trying so many times and coming up so short so many of those times, and still believing I could still do it. And then I got in the energy of celebrating myself. And then the next day, I woke up, and even though I had closed the program a week before, someone was like, can I please join? And then I sold a couple other smaller courses. So I unexpectedly had a $1,000 day, and I was just like, damn, I'm going to celebrate more often. So just a lot of milestones this month for me. And I just have to say, I'm so grateful to have a friend that doesn't, like, the energy could very easily be from someone like, ugh, like, I wish I was doing that, or like, who is she? I don't know. Sometimes I get in my head of like, do my friends think like, who is she to be selling stuff like that or making it up? And I know that's not you, but it's just cool to like, I'm not even texting Juliet like, oh, I got another one. She's texting me and being like, oh my God, you got another person. And so I'm just so grateful to have that energy as the person that I work with the closest and talk to the most. And it's just a big part of why I've been able to do it. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. For me, it has been the most inspiring thing. And it didn't pull up anything icky in me. It just made me think, oh, I could be.
Yes. Now Juliet's creating her thing, and I'm going to help her have her 5-figure launch. So
it's just it's so special. I get so excited. I have, another friend who is, I think, in his 40s and who's been, really doing the work as a songwriter for decades, and finally just got his big deal with a big company, and they celebrated him, and it was so exciting. Like, I felt like it was happening to me. It was so exciting. So I just love when people with genuine hearts do what they set out to do. It makes me believe that it's possible, and that it all happens, right when it's meant to.
Yeah.
So of course we're gonna celebrate you all the rest of the year.
Yeah.
That's a given.
So yeah, that was really exciting. But I'm just, it was, I mean, being 1 year into business and doing that is pretty good. Well, like a year and a half now. But when you're trying for a year and a half to have a specific goal, and you're like, why isn't it happening? Just keep trying.
Absolutely.
Every time I launched, I figured out something else. And I have to give a big shout out to, and I've mentioned her a million times, but Captolia, at captolia.online, who we will definitely we're manifesting her as a guest on here, and we've had so many amazing witches from her containers as guests on here. But the work I've done with her was the really big turning point in being able to do this. So I'm shout out and so grateful for that. And she showed up in my life when it was time for me to level up. So it's just interesting how the universe is like, if she would have showed up earlier in my life, in my stream of trying to figure out my business, I wouldn't have been like ready yet. I didn't have my thing figured out, the big thing. And I maybe would have like, I don't know, gotten too big of a launch prematurely where I wasn't like ready to handle that yet or something. And it all just feels very divinely timed, and I'm so grateful. And now I'm excited that I figured out a lot of stuff. And so now we have the tools to launch stuff for Goddess Hangs and to help you launch your things that you're creating.
Well, thank you.
It's all very exciting.
When Sadie wins, all of us win. When one goddess wins, all the goddesses win.
It's true.
So, yeah. Ooh. So yeah, that's what's new with me. I've been celebrating Sadie.
Well, you're also creating something.
I am creating something. I don't have a specific launch date. My guess is that it's not totally open yet. If this is coming out early December, it will be open soon. But I'm working on a program. I'm developing a course, I should say. A course called Confident Goddess. And it's going to be especially amazing for goddesses who are in an artistic field, a creative field, who are trying to like build up something kind of unique for themselves. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. I don't want to be too broad with it, but anyone who's interested in Confident Goddess is welcome to take it. But I think that confidence, we've been going about it incorrectly. I think we've been taught confidence on a very surface level, and I want to teach it on a soul level. And it's, you know, this soul level confidence is the reason that stuff just seems to manifest in my life and in our journey together. So I'm really excited to spread the knowledge and spread the wealth, and in the same way that we celebrate each other, to celebrate every person who takes this course. So I'm working on it. It's going to be very, very special. Putting my whole heart into it and everything I've learned. And it's, you know, talking about confidence as an act of magic, confidence as an act of spirituality, an act of service, just ways that we've not looked at confidence before. So,
and if you want to dip your toes in that, we have an amazing episode called Channeling Divine Confidence. And that topic really came as an inspiration to Juliet, and then we both riffed on it for a good hour, I think. So check out that episode if you have even an inkling of interest in Confident Goddess, because that's a little taste of what's to come. And we'll if you haven't launched yet, then there will be a wait list link in the show notes. And if for some reason you were like, fuck it, I'm launching, that will be in the show notes.
Okay, yes. One of the two will be there.
There will be something there for you.
So it's going to be a really, really special course.
Yeah,
very unique.
excited.
I don't know of anything quite like it. So I'm excited to pass along what I've learned and see other people.
I think it's going to be the perfect course for somebody that is like, okay, like I feel like I understand the steps I'm supposed to be taking for manifesting like whatever I want, but it's still not hitting right.
Right.
Because a lot of times it's the energy of, it's our energy. Like we don't feel confident. We don't truly believe. And then it's hard to trust in the intuitive nudges. So I think, like, especially if you are someone who's listened to every episode and you're like, I have a pretty solid grasp on what I'm supposed to be doing to make shit happen. I think this is going to be a really good,
this is that final key
of like,
that opens the lock.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what your students create out of it.
And we're gonna find a way to involve Sadie in some way too. So
yes,
it's gonna be
the guest witch.
Very special. Very special.
We'll do a self-love spell or something.
I love it. I love it.
Confident goddess.
Confident goddess.
Nailed it.
So speaking of confidence and stepping into confidence, we at dinner came up with an idea for tonight's episode. And I said, why don't we call it Coming Out of the Broom Closet?
Yes.
Because what does it feel like, and what does it take, and what do you go through when you just decide to start showing up as a witchy woman, as a spiritual woman, as a psychic, a medium, even an artist, if that's not something you normally do. What is that transition like? What have we experienced? What have we learned?
Yeah. So. It's like, I think everyone listening is at some point in their spiritual journey, right? Their magical journey. And at some point you get the clarity of like, this is what I want my title to be.
Yeah.
Like, I want my title to be witch. You want your title to be fairy goddess.
I do.
And it feels a little crazy to be like, no, this is what I'm going to call myself. Not only that, this is how I'm going to make money. Maybe that's not what everyone listening is getting out of their title, but this is how I want to be seen. It's a little scary to claim that. Like, I have been dabbling in witchcraft for a long time, but I never called myself a witch unless I was cracking a joke, like, oh, I'm a witch, but I was never serious. But now I'm like, people are like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm a witch. And they laugh and I'm like, no, seriously, I'm a witch.
I'm a full-time witch.
So how did I transition from cracking a joke because I felt uncomfortable claiming that title to being like, no, I make a living doing that. That's who I am.
Do you remember the moment you changed your Instagram to say, because I think that's where we all sort of post a title, Yeah. Do you remember the moment where you sort of decided and how did that feel? Do you remember it at all?
I was sweating. I thought people are going to look at me and say, who is she to claim to be a witch? What are her credits? Like,
yeah.
And no one cared.
Hocus Pocus University.
I just thought, oh my gosh, people are gonna, I had imposter syndrome. I was like, people are gonna think I'm a fraud, that I'm not a real witch because, all of a sudden I'm bringing this into my social media presence. But it was like, I had this weird, and I think I've chatted about this before, but I had this weird thought, like, because I was inspired by businesses of other women that were teaching like mindset and manifestation. So in my mind, I thought being like witchy and into like spooky stuff, that is a separate part of my life. I have to present myself a certain way if I want to have a spiritual mindset business.
Ooh, that's something we can dig into.
I thought I needed to wear white flowy dresses and speak gently and not swear, and all of those things are wonderful and beautiful and fantastic, but they are so not me.
Yeah.
And unsurprisingly, I wasn't getting much of anywhere being that version of me, even though I was taking inspirations from really successful women that I looked up to, but it wasn't me, and people can smell that from a mile away. No one was like, she's not being her, but I just wasn't magnetic because I wasn't being me. And as soon as I started being like, you know what, my favorite colors are like black and pink and purple, I'm gonna make my Instagram look like pink and purple, and I'm going to swear if I fucking feel like it because that's how I talk in real life. And I'm going to be a witch, and even if I'm not the most advanced witch on the planet, I'm going to show up imperfectly. I'm going to be honest about how I'm still learning along with you all. And wow, guess what? I started gaining a following, and people actually became interested in what I was trying to sell. And I started finally gaining momentum as soon as I claimed the title that I was so scared to do. So, it's just like, if you, whatever that like little title or thing you want to call yourself is that like scares you, but you want so badly, like, once you claim that, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, once you claim that, even if it's just in your personal life, it just changes your energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love this idea of the realization that, okay, well, these people are using these colors and these fonts, and they're presenting themselves in this way. And so maybe that's the way it should be done. And then you try that and you go, but this isn't me. This isn't me. This isn't what would pull me in.
Right. I was learning, and I was still figuring out what I really liked. Like, that's part of the journey, right? I think there's a tweet going around that's like, I think people start businesses because they're just ready for deeper soul-led work, because you really have to get to know yourself on the deepest level to start a business, especially if it's something like we're doing where it's connected to like mindset work and spirituality and magic, because magic doesn't work when you're not being authentic.
Right.
You know, it's so connected to your energy. And it's funny because for so many years I like started different Instagram pages and started to do different things. Like my page, I am Sadie Olson, 5 years ago, was called Barbie Knows Best, named after my mom. And my ex-boyfriend that I was dating at that time was an amazing photographer, and I lived in Santa Barbara, and we would go on hikes all the time. So he took all these beautiful photos of me hiking. So the first version of that Instagram was like this beautiful like adventure hiking page, and I would write captions of lessons that my mom taught me about, basically. So I was sort of trickling into this like mindset type of soulful led business, and then I quit that. And then I started a spooky book club.
Oh, I remember that.
Which I still have. And I always want to do. I just don't have time. And then I had the different versions that I tried. I had my page was called Affirmation Babe for a while. And then it finally hit me that I was like, I don't want to tie my Instagram handle into like something specific. Like if I for some reason wake up one morning and I'm like, I'm not a witch anymore, I don't want to have to change my Instagram handle. I'm just Sadie Olson, and I'm a sparkly pink witch right now, and if tomorrow I want to be someone different, fine.
Yeah. I remember, I think it might have been 2 years ago, before any of this started happening, when I was strictly doing music, I got this nudge to change my Instagram from Juliet Piper Music to Juliet.Piper. I would have done my name, but it wasn't available. And a couple people I remember had a weirdly sad reaction to that. They're like, "What? You're changing?" And I was like, "It's still my name." I was like, "I might want to branch out and do other stuff."
Yeah.
I sort of felt that before I knew what that even would look like or what that meant. But even that was weird to like take off this identity that had defined me so strongly for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And then to be open. Oh, Boo has her little paws crossed. She's so cute.
So cute.
She's asleep.
Well, and I think it's just like, especially if you're thinking about like starting your own business, or maybe it doesn't look like a business yet, but you're like, I really want to start a social media page about this kind of thing. Maybe it's witchcraft or magic or something. Just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. I changed mine so many times until I finally found my thing. Just start and like try different things along the way and get inspired by accounts you like. But don't think you have to be like them to be successful. And just like, that's what most of what I've built, I just studied other people's businesses and pages that were successful. And it worked once I got better at distinguishing how to make this completely my own. Like, how does this speak to me versus like, well, most of these pages I'm looking at all have like neutral tones, so I better keep it neutral around here or whatever. So it's just interesting. And I changed so many times too. Like I almost felt scared to put witch in my title because I thought like not my general audience, but like the friends that knew me would go, oh, this is another phase or something. Like, oh, she thinks she's a witch right now, but that won't last long.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I was like wishy-washy about stuff, but it was because I was just figuring out what I wanted. So as someone who has tried many different entrepreneurial ventures, just keep trying. I think it's my Aries moon that likes a lot of change. But once you find the right thing, you will want to stick with it. And the exciting change that you're looking for will come within the offerings and maybe the aesthetic shifting a little and things like that. But don't get discouraged if you're like, why do I keep wanting to change? Why do I get interested in something for 1 month and then want to do something else? It's just a part of the process. You're just finding your way. It's okay.
Yeah. My biggest challenge that Sadie was there for me through, and another challenge that came up about a month ago that I like cried during our coven meeting about, and I never cry around Sadie. But the first one was that it can be very strange when you've been known as a certain thing for a really long time, especially in the artist world, when you've, let's say, been doing, I'm just going to speak from my own experience. You've been doing music for a long time. Even when you switch genres within that music, there's always going to be somebody who's like, oh, I like your old stuff better. I miss who you used to be. I've heard that a number of times because my music went from very bedroom recording folksy to like huge production, dreamy, ethereal pop. And I love it all. And I'm allowed to change and evolve, and everyone's allowed to change and evolve. And I always would tell those people like, well, you know what? The music is still on Spotify. You can listen to the stuff from 2010. It's there for you. But we're allowed to evolve and change. But for some reason, that was difficult for me when I then was going to add other stuff into the mix, because when I discovered that I have, intuitive, psychic, medium abilities, it was extremely scary to say out loud. I did not, even when I did my mentorship with Megan, who trained both of us, I did not want my name in her testimonial. Like, I was so paranoid that everybody, this is so personal. I was so paranoid that everybody who I had spent 10 years plus building up a relationship with in music was going to think, oh, she has lost her mind. Stop inviting her to co-writing. Like, we don't want her in the room. Even though I was the same exact person, I just sort of had this other thing that had unlocked in me. So it was a big fear. And even in the beginning of Goddess Hangs, I would not repost stuff where we talked about the psychic part. I was like, oh yeah, no, it's just inspirational, motivational. And I was still very so afraid.
Nervous. Yeah.
But what has actually happened is that most people that I work with, and I'm far more selective with who I work with now, which is a whole other story, and it's actually the best thing that could have happened. I think it's the coolest thing ever, and they're so supportive, and that surprised me. And then adding in this other layer of, now I want to teach on confidence. Well, who the heck am I? So there's always, it's always going to feel uncomfortable at first.
Yeah.
But if there's a voice in you that's saying, no, like, you just trust me, trust us, like, you gotta go in this direction, it feels easier and easier over time. And now when people ask, I'll say, oh yeah, like, I do psychic readings and medium readings, and it just feels as normal as, oh yeah, I work in retail, it becomes very normal. And the fairy goddess thing is very funny because I don't sit down to meditate often, even though I absolutely should. I'm too busy making things constantly and running things. But I sat down and I did this meditation, and I was so overwhelmed. And I just felt like, who am I? What am I? I don't know how to blend all these different parts of me, because how beautiful is it to have one thing that you are good at and love doing. Well, what happens if there's like 3 or 4 things? It is a good problem to have. I'm not complaining, but it's overwhelming to know, what do I lead with, and how is this still me? And this little voice came into my head, and they said their names. Okay, they said their names were Guinevere and oh my gosh, it was an S name, Sebastian.
Yeah, I think so.
And what was wild,
you looked up Saint Sebastian.
I looked up Saint Sebastian because he said, I'm here to protect you. And Guinevere's like, I'm here to open you up. And Sebastian, I looked up Saint Sebastian, and he is the patron saint of the plague, and he's what people have been praying to for protection during the pandemic. And I was like, oh my god, the COVID saint
this also
here.
doubles as spooky story time, everybody.
This is the first time I felt like I was connecting with
guides,
a guide with a name ever.
Yeah.
And then Guinevere kept saying, like, she kept saying, you can choose, but you're either going to be a love goddess or a fairy goddess, and whatever that is gets to help people at a really intimate level, gets to write songs, gets to be creative, gets to show people like how special they are. And that all sort of falls under the umbrella. And once I gave myself this job title, I put it on my Instagram and I felt relieved. I was like, I'm a fairy goddess for a living. That's just what I do. And if people think it's strange, that's okay. I'm not for everyone.
We have a fairy goddess and a witch in the building.
Yeah. And it's funny because for a while we were like, we're the artist and the witch. And I never loved that. I was like, no, there's something else.
Yeah.
And this feels, and even the witch thing, I have the necklace on and I'm very proud of it. And, you know, it's like, everybody can be a witch in their own way. Even to just be a woman who like radically believes in herself is kind of a form of witchcraft.
You don't have to sit down and do spells. In fact, I don't do a spell every full moon and every new moon. I don't, you know, most of my witchcraft practice is like when I'm vacuuming the floor or I'm sweeping, I'm visualizing and like affirming that I'm like clearing the energy in the space, or, you know, as I'm getting ready for, you know, creating a course, I set intentions into the program that everyone who invests in this makes back the money tenfold within, you know, 3 months of the program being done. Or like that's my magic. It's not always like, you don't have to sit down and light a candle for the full moon in Taurus or whatever. Like, that's all really fun and powerful parts of witchcraft too, but there's so much magic in every day, and just like affirming that when you do something simple, the intention that and the power that and the ripple effect that can happen from that, like making your morning tea and stirring intentions into like what you're going to get done for the day, or whatever it is. So yeah, it's like there's not one way to be a witch, which we're all about here.
Yeah, and I think you definitely helped open my eyes to that. And you've been, I mean, I'm sure anybody could have guessed that Sadie was so supportive, and she's like, you can be it all, you can do it all, and it's safe, and everyone's gonna want to work with you even more because they're gonna know how intuitive you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, it's so funny when we think back to who we were when we were younger. I was like, wait, I did this as a teenager. Like, I would do palm readings and card readings, and everybody knew that about me. And then I would say, come to my show. And it wasn't an identity crisis, but for some reason as an adult, it was scary. I think as a teenager, it felt charming. Like, I'm so indie. Yeah. And now as a 30-year-old,
you're like, no, this is who I genuinely am, actually.
I'm like, no, this helps keep a roof over my head and affords me a really beautiful lifestyle. And I love that I get to help people and connect with their souls. And so it's just so, I would say worth it if you're feeling stuck in a broom closet.
And would you say, like, because you pretty recently came out on Instagram as a psychic medium. So, like, what has that been like? Like, in terms of, like, when I kind of started finally embracing being the witch and showing up more as myself, I saw, you know, more followers come in, selling more readings, selling more courses. Like, has that had a similar effect for you, like claiming your truth? Yes.
So I think one thing that is not going to happen across the board, but it's happening for me right now, is I think people who followed me for other reasons are now like, what is she doing? And they're not interested anymore. So you might lose some people.
Oh, I lost so many when I was like, I'm a witch and this is how I'm doing this now.
And they
so
said,
many.
a what?
But those people weren't going to buy it in the first place. So
Yeah.
Good riddance.
So I'm feeling like that has happened a little bit. But I don't really fixate on the numbers. It's
a little like discouraging
crypto.
to see, but we know it's for the best.
I read this thing. I'll answer the question in 1 second. I didn't read it. There's a TikTok. I read this TikTok, and there's this very funny guy who says things you can say to men to make them angry. And they're all so good. And my favorite one is when they talk about crypto to say, oh, so it's like Cole's cash, and just like keep a straight face.
Oh, no, I know what you're, like Cole's cash.
Yeah.
I have that. I have a lot of that, actually.
Anyways, people have just been overwhelmingly supportive, and they think it's cool. And my reading offerings my bookings have for sure doubled. I mean, it's been wonderful. I think when anybody shows up as themselves in a really authentic way, people like that for the most part. I also think Sadie and I both come from this place of we're still learning with you, we're developing, you know, this is where I am right now. I've been doing it for this long. And I think that really welcomes people in to be like, ooh, she's maybe one step ahead of me, but we're growing together. So I definitely said, you know, I'm developing this gift, and it's just another, in the same way, it doesn't surprise me, and I don't think it really surprises anybody that I can do this because I've channeled songs my whole life.
Yeah, anything
I've always channeled.
Creative that anyone does, like whether you write stories or poems or write songs or paint or choreograph dance or whatever, like that is all from the same place, you guys. Yeah. It's all, you know, our intuition connecting to energies outside of ourselves. So if you are in the least bit creative, which all of us have creative energy within us, like that, you're tapped in. So
it's been a very, the arc of this year, I don't know why I made it like up and down, it's just going up. And where we were and our businesses were, I mean, or even just going back to like episode 1 versus episode 50, what has happened for us.
We look so different.
We look different. We present differently. And I've always like, even when I was younger and I was doing shows, I remember a friend once said to me, she said, you know, when I think about what Juliet must be doing right now, I think that you're on the top of a mountain, like throwing glitter in the air.
Like, yes, that is what I do.
And now it's like, that was an absolutely correct assumption.
Biodegradable glitter.
Completely glitter made of flower petals.
Yes.
So I've always had that in me, and it's really fun to claim it. And, you know, I'm so lucky that I have best friends and a boyfriend and family that say, all right, good for you.
Yeah.
No one's ever sat me down and said, you might want to get a little more realistic.
Well, I have come from that, and I'm still thriving. I'm actually saving the news about my 5-figure launch until I go home for Christmas, and I can say it in person. Oh, your dad's
going to lay an egg.
Yeah, he is. He's going to lay an egg. That's not what I was going to say.
Oh.
But I like that better. I was just going to say he's going to be so proud.
Aww.
He's already proud of me. I've said before, like, it's such little things, and I think this is common with like dads specifically. You just have to like, but just him like no longer being like, so how's the job hunt going, you know, like, right. Oh, you're still looking for a backup, right? Like that question has ceased, and it just like means so much. I'm just like, daddy believes in my business.
Daddy.
He believes. So I'm very excited to go home and tell him the numbers. And I also need him to help me organize my business on a financial level better now that I'm making real money.
Yeah.
In a real way. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. It just goes to show. And that's another important part about coming out of the broom closet or whatever closet you need to come out of. The broom closet, the I'm psychic closet. Is like maybe not everyone's going to be on board. Maybe some people that are close to you are going to question you and say, are you sure about that? Or, you know, humor you, which I hate.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of condescending, like, okay. Just use that as momentum to prove that this is what's meant for you. Like, that's how I always felt. I was like, okay, you know what? Cool. Doubt me. I'm going to show you that you're so wrong. And not in a like malevolent way, but in a like, you're going to be so pumped when you see how wrong you are. Like, because they'll come around. Your loved ones will. But I mean, that's honestly the scary part, right? Is everyone's reaction.
Yeah. I really was just mostly concerned with, you know, I'd built all these relationships in music industry,
yeah.
and I'd put, you know, 15 almost years into it. And now I'm going to come out and be like, by the way, I will talk to your dead grandma. And I just thought they'd be like, oh no. But I think what's cool is that it's sort of like that quote, be the change you wish to see in the world. And I did not I was so actually resistant to sharing psychic intuitive abilities because I have been turned off by so many psychics. I have had really bad experiences, really negative experiences. I've had people predict things, none of which ever happened, or things that just freaked me out, which also didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky industry because I've said it before, it is a very easy, it's hard to fake being a doctor, but you can fake being psychic. You can say, oh, I see this and I see this for you. And oh yeah, in 20 years, this will happen. Thank you. You know, so I had like this resistance of like, oh, I don't know if I want to, I had to get past my own feelings of like what it meant to be psychic and to have an intuitive gift and how to actually help and serve people.
Yeah, like every reading with either of us is always going to be almost more of a coaching session. Because unless you're doing a medium reading where you're connecting with the loved one, but it's like, that's what is important to both of us is like, yeah, I want to show you, I want to, you know, see something specific to validate that I'm like, definitely, I want some sort of evidence that I'm to show you that I couldn't possibly know that without being psychic. But then I just want to like let you know what's up, like where the energy needs to shift and like how to make shit happen. And that little piece of evidence, that's the cool psychic part of me saying like, oh, do you know someone named Mary? That was the last thing that came through that was correct. That was like the evidence base. And I was like, okay, well, Mary has this and this to say.
Lamb.
But it was all information of just like how to make life go better, you know?
Yeah.
Versus like, watch out because this bad thing is coming. And you know, there's I don't know, I've heard people be like, oh, there's dark entities attached to you and things like that. And
brother.
It's like, I'm sorry, does any of like, I want to serve, and it does not serve any purpose to say in, you know, I'm thinking of The Ring, I'm like, you're gonna die in 7 days. That doesn't give me any you know. So that's a boundary we both place too, where it's like we only want to see what's for the highest good of our clients to,
you know, to
move forward. But
I had just this odd string. So when we worked in the crystal store, you know, a crystal store definitely calls in.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's so like grew up in California, grew up in small town Wisconsin, because I've never met a psychic before in my life. You know, you're like, I had all these bad experiences. And I'm like, I never met one.
This woman came in and was doing, she's like, oh, I'm a psychic. And immediately I'm not interested. It's so funny because now that I am in this community, I've met so many amazing ones. You know, it's really all about who you work with. But she was praising the owner and just being very, very sweet and generous with her compliments and all these things. And then she whips around, and this was one of my least favorite days of my life, and looks at me, and in front of all of my coworkers, in front of my clients, in front of my boss, she goes, and you have a lot of fear. And it broke me in half. And she just happened to catch me during a really bad week. And I went in the back office and I was sobbing. And I remember they said, she wants to tell you more things. And I said, I don't want to talk to her unless she's going to be nice to me. And I was like,
it's one thing if you need to give someone a little tough love, if they have asked for a reading, right? If I'm like, things are hard, I'm going to go see a psychic. And then they say, you have a lot of fear that you need to work through. But if unsolicited, you walk up to somebody, I mean, who does that?
Even if I feel somebody who has, I would say, like anxious, nervous energy, I would say there's a calling for you to shift to a more secure state and a more confident, trusting
Right, there's a
state.
loving way to give tough love.
And only if somebody asks for it. The amount of psychics who have walked up to me and said something either just very insulting or mean, I was like, oh no, I don't want people to think that now that I share that I'm psychic, I'm going to go into their home and say weird stuff to them.
I had the opposite experience. Because I had never come across psychics ever before. When they would come into the store, I was interested. I was like, I want them to tell me something, but unsolicited. You know,
they would come right to me.
They would look at me, and then they would pause, and like nothing. And I don't know if my mom was kind of like, no, like absolutely not. This person's weird. Like maybe her energy was sort of blocking. But I was like, am I dying and they don't want to tell me?
No.
Like, because they would just go blank and then they would move on to someone else. And like everyone in the space would get something and not all great. But I would just be like, I'm over here. You looked right at me. Nothing? Come on. Try me.
Oh gosh, another time. This episode has turned into times when psychics were mean to Juliet. Another time we went to, I won't say his name, but we went to that live event at a hotel where was speaking.
Oh yeah.
And so overall, I think a wonderful person, but oh no, it was somebody's house. We saw him at somebody's house.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to heal where I had my hernia surgeries, because at the age of 21, I had 2 hernias for no reason. I didn't lift anything. And he said, there's a spiritual reason behind that. It's because somebody was intending something on you or whatever. And I said, oh, well, what was it? And in front of the whole group, he goes, you don't want to know. And I was like, that was a really nasty thing to just say, feel better, good luck. So
I did have crazy healing from that though.
Oh, I had crazy annoyance, but I'm glad
I don't want to share the specific thing. I'll tell you after we're not recording anymore what it helped. But let me just say, I had a medical issue that caused me pain, and it has not been an issue once since then. And unexplainable how that possibly could have went away.
I will say though, now that I'm thinking about it, nothing happened instantly for me. Mm-hmm. It's this gentleman who is sort of like a renowned healer, and a lot of people have had these like amazing experiences just with him like looking at them. Mm-hmm. I really don't feel that pain anymore. Yeah. And I was having chronic pain. I mean, even at the store.
You went again with me to the hotel one, right? Because you said the hotel.
Yes.
Because we went again to the hotel. Mm-hmm. I still use the sheet of
sometimes I'll say the prayers. Yeah.
I think they're really clearing. I'll do them right before reading a lot of times.
The soap at that hotel was really nice.
Oh, I don't have a memory.
Oh, I took a picture of it.
That was a nice hotel.
Yeah. It was like Aesop or something.
We should go there when we have a big milestone together. We should book a night there and like get room service and have a bougie ass sleepover there. That would be fun.
What is it called? I can picture it.
Santa Monica Hotel, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
I think so. Was it? It was in Santa Monica.
I think it was called something else, but
it was a fancy hotel there.
And the lobby was so pretty.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be a fun. We should celebrate something there.
Okay, I love that.
Putting it on the vision board.
Coming back to reasons why we may have felt resistance about coming out of the psychic witch broom closet.
We didn't want to people think we were going to say mean things to them out of the blue.
I didn't want anybody to think that.
Yeah, that's just... It's interesting because we also recently had an experience where someone gave us a tarot reading.
Oh, I didn't like that at all.
It's just like... there's no, and look, we did go through a mentorship, so we did have someone sort of talk us through the ethics of it. you know, but there's no regulation, right, in the psychic industry. There's no like, you have to at least, you know, have this ethics training done or whatever. So sometimes you go to a reader and this person like
Here, wait, really quick. Just because a reading is free doesn't mean you have to do it. Just because somebody hands you a goldfish at the fair doesn't mean you have to take it.
Even if it's one of us giving readings, because we're not perfect. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest. If you are doing a reading for yourself and you pull a card that you say, this is a bad card and I'm feeling good. Is something bad coming? No. It means take a break from your goddamn cards and just take a break. But this person kept saying over and over, you're never in the wrong. You never do anything wrong. You are never in the wrong. And I was like, for sure, sometimes I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I was just like,
I've definitely been wrong sometimes.
I was like, is she telling everybody this? I was like, we don't need everybody out here thinking that they never do anything wrong. We need everybody out here reflecting on
being
how can I be better and where do I need to practice, you know, asking for forgiveness and self-forgiveness and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God. Thank God she told this to two people that have a self-awareness, because you could tell that to the wrong person at a pivotal point in their life where they really need to do some self-reflection, and you could change how, like, they could have been so close to like some sort of breakthrough of like, oh, maybe it is me. And then you just told them
maybe I'm the common denominator.
And it was said with so much like love and cheering us on, so I appreciated the energy, but I was just like, no.
I don't know. There was that comment, and then
mine was, my reading had all these good cards of like money and abundance and whatever, and Juliet's reading, she was like,
it was like, oh, you're
she was
not
like,
gonna
I don't
make
know
much.
if you're gonna stay with your boyfriend.
Oh, she's like, oh, I forgot about that. I forgot. She's like, you're single, right? And I said, no. She said, he's not the one. I was like, that's so mean.
I'm like, your tarot cards told you that. I don't think so.
Can you imagine in a million years like sitting down with a client and saying, that's not the right guy for you?
Yeah.
And I was like,
absolutely not.
He certainly is. And if for some crazy reason you are correct, how dare you tell me? Like, that's no, what I was thinking was, I was so annoyed that in this really exciting time in my life, she's like, you're with the wrong guy and you're really bored.
Oh yeah, she told Juliet she was bored.
And I don't really see money like coming, but Sadie's gonna make a lot. And I was like, ugh. What is this reading?
Yeah, it was not great. Not every reading has to be like, you're about to be rich and famous, but there's always like, it's just like whenever if I'm reading specifically with like just tarot cards, right? Like I'm always like, I'm going to give multiple perspectives, because one, if I'm just doing like a 3-card tarot reading, I'm not connecting deeply psychically, but I'm just like, okay, you asked about love and these cards came up. Now this could mean that it's time to walk away from this person, or this could mean that the two of you need to fucking let go of whatever's between you and you need to walk away so that you can be together. Like, there's perspectives that need to be sorted through. Like,
I was so grumpy.
It's just not black and white.
I think I was upset for like a day and a half.
Yeah.
Like I like laughed it off, and then I went home and I like looked at Victor differently. I was like, are you not the guy?
Are you not the one? Victor, I just like, this is like in a sitcom where like you're like glaring at him and he's just like happily like eating his cereal and has no idea that you're like, is he not the one?
And then I was like, why am I listening? And that's, I think, our favorite thing that both of us, as we do readings, say is, above all else, your intuition about you and your life is 1,000 times stronger and 1,000 times more correct than anything any psychic will ever tell you.
Yeah.
You need to follow your arrow. And our job and our purpose in working with you is to help reconnect you to your own intuition.
That's, ultimately, we're just trying to confirm and validate what you already knew. So many times, like, the way, not every time does someone enter like a question, but when someone asks a question and I'll say, I'm like, this isn't me being psychic. I'm saying the way you asked this question tells me that you know the answer. And a lot of times, like, the thing that gives you clarity as like the person purchasing the reading is like you typing in that question, and I don't even have to tap in. I can go, the fact that you had to ask someone outside of yourself this question means this is the answer.
Means you're
probably.
ready for a change.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, I'm scared to start this new thing, but I really want to. Do you think this could be my purpose? And I'm like, fuck yeah, probably, because you want to do it.
Do it.
So it's interesting. And I think be the change you want to see in the world is like, we want to, if we're out there working as people that give readings, like, I still have a hard time calling myself psychic. I'm saying people that do readings as psychics. Maybe that will help just a couple people avoid someone that is not that we're the most qualified in the world, but we do a pretty good job. I think you can see our testimonials and know that we give supportive, heartfelt advice that will help you and not make you anxious and bring you down. Like, you should never, if you ever get a reading that makes you feel anxious and scared and like sad, like,
oh, don't go to that place anymore.
Don't take it to heart. Don't take it to heart, because maybe there was some heavier stuff to share with you, but they didn't know how to help you with that. They didn't know how to support you. They didn't know how to show you how to use that to grow on your journey. Because of course, we're not all love and light around here. Like, we know. Mm-hmm. We embrace the darker aspects of our spiritual journeys, but a reader should be giving you perspectives and ways to use that information in a really beautiful way. And you should not leave a reading. You should leave a reading feeling excited, capable, like you have clarity. And even if you're feeling scared, it should be about, oh boy, like, now I know what I need to do and I'm scared to do it, but like, I'm excited. It's just like, it bums me out. And I'm grateful I never really had that in a serious manner where I felt scared or nervous about something somebody told me. Because so many people sit down with the two of us and go, I'm so scared. And we're like, why are you scared?
We're like, why are you scared?
I would say 90% of people.
But I can tell you exactly why I know that they're scared, because I've been in situations where, that threw off my mood for 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So thank you all for being here. And for all of the listeners that are out there doing supportive, heart-led readings, we love you.
We love you.
Shout out.
God bless.
Because we've had lots of guests on here that do readings and amazing offerings. And
oh my gosh, yes.
Stand by going to any of them, as well as Ms. Juliet here. I'm taking a pause on readings right now, but
you can book a reading with both of us.
Oh, yeah.
That's in our... there's a link to that somewhere. Or
I will
DM
link
us.
It in the show notes. We do 2-on-1 live readings. That is an option. Mm-hmm. A new option that we haven't really talked much about, but it is an option.
It is an option. And if you want, you can also book, and we'll put my link in here too.
Yeah. Juliet's link is in every show note, so you can always book a reading.
Did you put it in all of them?
They're all of them.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. So yeah, that was, long story short, that was another thing I was nervous about was, oh my gosh, if I come forward, people are going to think I'm a quack. Mm-hmm. Or, so either they're going to stop wanting to work with me. They won't take me seriously. They'll think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Or something else, or they'll have like a negative association. Mm-hmm. So once you sort of get past that and realize, okay, well, what am I missing out on by not doing it?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's just like, maybe it'll suck a little bit at first if people don't have the excited reaction that you want them to be, like certain people in your life. There's always like the certain people that we really hope are like, fuck yeah. And if we don't get that reaction, it can be really disheartening. But let's say worst case scenario, you're like, I want to be a witchypreneur. I want to be a witch goddess entrepreneur. Wow, what a crazy thing to say. Well, and the worst case scenario is you say that and like your closest friends and family go, that's a little weird. Are you sure you want to put yourself out there with that title? Like maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, but a witchy one, like let's say that's kind of the worst case. Well, that'll be uncomfortable for a little bit. But wouldn't it be way worse to be uncomfortable forever thinking about how you wanted to start that business but continuing to not do it? Or whatever like comes to mind when I say like, when we say like go out and claim your title, won't it be more uncomfortable to forever not get to do that?
And it's always, you know, things are always changing and always evolving, and we might adjust our title. It's safe to say we probably will adjust parts of our titles throughout our lives. And if I get to look back at being 30 and, oh my gosh, when I was 30, I was a fairy goddess and I had so much fun and I did card readings and I wrote songs and we did a podcast. Like, how wonderful is that? And then maybe in 5 years, you know, I imagine it would be nice to be like a wife and a mother.
Maybe you'll be a fairy mom.
A fairy mom mother.
Fairy mom. Fairy mama goddess.
Fairy mama goddess. And maybe that's going to evolve into, you know, maybe at that point, my background in preschool teaching, which I did and I'm certified in, and child development and my educational degree and everything, like maybe that's going to come back in and be like fairy goddess's intuitive approach to raising kids. Like there might be another way that flows in, and then I just add on.
Absolutely.
And it's always, I believe, as long as we're doing what we desire, it's always safe to evolve and try on different things. And I love this idea of like throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks, throwing ideas, throwing identities. You know, think of like a movie montage where the main character tries on all the different outfits and eventually they find the one that works for them. And you're always allowed to change over time, even if you've only been known as the accountant or the stay-at-home mom. Like if you only had one title and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but now I want to be a witch or an artist or whatever. It's safe. People evolve. People have new identities at any age, at any time, many times in their lives. So,
and you know, there might be the people that at first are a little hesitant, resistant, but the good ones that you want to keep in your life, they're going to come around. And if someone is so judgmental and so resistant and just, I don't know, just brings you down and makes you feel bad and like maybe you've given them some space and you whatever. The point I'm trying to get is like when we grow and expand and we level up into new versions of ourselves that are meant for us, that we're worthy of, a lot of times people fall away. And we've actually been talking a lot about this a lot in our Patreon BFF group and in the Activate Your Magic group of like partners kind of going, whoa, what's happening? Like, and learning how to like sort of lead by example to show like, this is all good. This is all positive. This is going to change our lives. Or, you know, sometimes it's like, yeah, I kind of outgrew some of my friends and no bad blood, love to them, but I'm just not the version of myself anymore that exists the way they do. So it's okay to like, it's incredible once you start claiming who you are, how clear it gets about like who's there for you and who's not. And it's so safe for you to place your boundaries. And we talked about this a couple episodes ago of just like, do your thing, keep your eyes forward, and who's meant to join you for this beautiful ride of claiming who you truly are, like they'll be there. And it might take them a minute. They might get confused. You're a what now? But they'll get excited and they'll run and catch up. So just do you, boo.
And sometimes when these people fall away, they create space for other friendships. And I haven't been able to sit down. We've been working all day and go through my phone, but I think I have about 350 missed messages. Oh yeah, my phone's over here and it's been lighting up from we have a new patron. Oh, welcome, Audra. Yay, welcome. You get a special shout out. I have 109 missed messages, and that was from like an hour or two ago. Yeah, so. And they're all organized. It's not like one long thing, just so you know. Lots of different categories. You can participate in as many or as few chats as you desire. It's one of the great things, though, if you are going through this, if you're coming out of the broom closet or out of the creative artist closet or whatever closet you've been hiding in. Any closet. And
and you don't feel like you have a supportive group, not to toot our own horn, but we've created maybe the most supportive group on the fucking planet. No
I kind
joke.
of think so.
I literally don't think that's an exaggeration.
I don't think it is.
I am dead ass.
We said we would like for you to be our besties. This is a, cup of coffee, $5 a month investment.
They understood the assignment.
They said, okay. And everybody has stepped up and been our actual best friend.
Literally.
What has it been? 5-6 weeks?
Yeah.
Crazy town. So it's just, had we not stepped into our gifts and our new identities, which are, ever evolving, these beautiful women would not be in our lives.
Right.
So I'm just grateful all the time. And I remember, and I'll talk more about this on our 52nd episode, I remember sitting down the first time, and I think it's probably recorded, and it feels like a long time ago, and I remember I looked at you and I said, we did it.
Yeah, after our first one.
Yeah, I think when we first just started recording, I was like, we did it. We're doing it. It's happening. And because I couldn't say what was going to happen, but I knew something amazing was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so to sit down and begin was huge. So sometimes you just have to trust your heart. You have to trust your desires. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you can do whatever you want. Oh, my battery.
Uh-oh, low battery. Quick. Oh, plug this in. Here.
It's still going.
Oh,
You
good.
guys
Well,
get to see behind the scenes.
chaos ensues, and you'll want to set that on the table.
Okay. Oh, you can see the jewelry up close.
Oh, there you go. Money shot. But I think we're at the point now where, like Juliet and I started a podcast with,
Oh, I tilted it way over to me. Keep going. Keep going.
We're just here for it. Now I think it's way over to me. There we go. There we go. Great. That feels good. We were like, well, I guess I was like, Juliet, we're starting a podcast.
And I said, okay.
We had, both small followings. We both still have very modest followings. And no obvious sign or marker of what would make us really successful? Starting a podcast. We didn't have the audience for it. We didn't have, this was even before I think this was around the same time I was shifting into calling myself a witch, or maybe not even yet.
I don't think you had yet.
No. This talking to each other every week has created so much growth for ourselves and our personal lives. This is like our therapy. This is our coaching session with each other every week and all of you. But it just goes to show, when you have an inkling that you need to do something, when you have an intuitive nudge, when you have a desire, who are you to dare to not follow through on that, right? Because we still have a very modest following. We still have a modest listenership, but we have created so much unbelievable magic and such an unbelievable community. Mm-hmm. And we keep saying it, but it doesn't even fucking make sense.
Nope.
But if we back then had said, who are we to start a podcast? How dare we? If that had been our thought and we had never done it, how dare we? Because look at where we are now. We would have
robbed the world of
us? But not us.
But that's how you have to think.
We would have robbed the world of everyone connecting with everyone within this community, and of us, because we have magic to share. But so if you're afraid to step into this is who I really want to be, this is what I want to create, this is how I want to live my life, who the fuck are you to not? Huh? How dare you not do that thing? How dare you not? That is so
I'm mad at you. We're in a fight if you don't do it.
Fight.
You don't want to be in a fight with me.
Boo's gonna hiss at you if you don't.
It made me sound really mean. I was like, you don't want to be in a fight with me. You know why you don't want to be in a fight with me? Because I won't fight. I'll just act like everything's fine. And you'll be like, something's off. And I'll be like, nope, everything's good.
The girl fight.
Because I don't feel like fighting.
But seriously, like, we created this out of nothing, and it's not even been a year. And we've come so far, and we've had so many unexpected opportunities, and it just goes to show, like, when you just trust your crazy ideas, holy shit.
And I just believe that life is a gift, and, you know, maybe we have many lives, but the only one we really have for now is this one. And I just am so excited to one day look back on my life and think, wow, I did literally everything I wanted to do.
Yes.
Even when it was scary, even when it felt strange or uncomfortable, I did what I wanted to do. And I think maybe 2% of people live that way.
Yeah.
And I want 100% of people to live that way.
Imagine what our world would be like if everyone was living intuitively, following their heart's desire, because everyone would be like happier, healthier.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt in my mind that our world would run so smoothly. It would be a very, very different world. But I think our desires and the things we get called to do, like, the universe knows how to distribute that shit. So we would be at such a different place, you know, if we all were able to live intuitively like that. Like, the world would look very different, but in an amazing, amazing way.
Oh my gosh. You just inspired a song. Are you ready? We must touch hands. Oh, a finger. Imagine all the people. I'm doing the John Lennon song.
Got it.
But then we're going to go, listening to goddess hangs. Ooh. You may say I'm a dreamer. Our little fingers are touching. But I'm not the only one. Bum, bum, bum. I hope someday you'll join the Patreon. If you want to. If not, whatever.
If you feel called to.
And the world will
be really fun.
Be so fun.
Nailed it. Another one.
Amazing. Another one.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't have a spooky story time prepared. I also don't have a Psychic Babes hotline prepared, but we did go almost to our time limit.
This is, you know what? I don't know if we can follow that song anyways.
We really outdid ourselves with the John Lennon remix.
With the gift of song.
Ad break. We're back. Hey, just a reminder, folks, that we're here sponsoring Goddess Hangs podcast, and we really want you to order their intuitive magic oracle deck.
You know, I've been using my intuitive magical oracle.
You don't say.
I have.
What do you think about it?
You know, I pull a card every morning, and I've got a better day because of it.
Well, Frank, back to you.
Also, the girls would really like you to check out their incredible jewelry line, a collaboration with Outcharmed Jewelry. Get the Juliet the Goddess necklace, the Sadie the Witch necklace, the BFF charm bracelet, and the Magic charm ring. Match with your besties. You are one of their besties. Link in the description.
Thank you, Outcharmed. And one final sponsorship to talk about the Goddess Hangs Best Friends Forever Patreon. Yes, you heard it here first, folks. We have a Patreon with 3 tiers. That's right. For the cost of a cup of coffee. You
Can have
50 friends. 50 friends in a group chat. Or more by now. Who knows? Your dad's gonna be like, I had to turn the mics all the way down for a lot of those. 50 goddess witch best friends chatting it up, sending memes, supporting each other, getting advice from us and each other. It is unbelievable. There's never been anything like it. Goddess Hangs
It's
BFF
all nice
Patreon.
girls. If anyone starts being not nice, we're gonna kick them out.
We're gonna kick them out.
But we don't anticipate that.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
We have a second tier. We've got a second tier called the Coven.
2.
And the Coven for $22 a month. That's right, folks.
Meets
Just
in a dark, spooky
$22
basement at an
a month.
unmarked location. No, we don't do that. We meet on Zoom.
We meet on the World Wide Web once a month. That's right. The last Wednesday of every single month, you can meet Sadie, Juliet, and all of your best friends on a Zoom meeting. Sometimes you do spells. Sometimes you do other stuff. Boy, is it a jolly good time. And finally,
This month you're going to want to join because in the month of December, we're having our holiday.
And everyone's invited to the birthday party.
Oh, yeah. They don't know that yet, though.
Oh, shit. Guess what? We're having a
Surprise!
birthday party.
Even if you're in the BFF tier, you are coming on a Zoom call with us.
Woo! And we're going to throw a holiday party.
And we're throwing a holiday party. So if you want to come and do some ho 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 Hanukkah and holiday
Some
Christmas,
ha ha Hanukkah and some ho ho hoing around.
Christmas spells.
Some Christmas spells.
We're gonna put a little something sweet in the eggnog, and it's gonna be. This has been the silliest. I'm so curious to know what the feedback from this episode's gonna be.
They're gonna be like,
I wonder if we're gonna lose listeners or people are gonna be like, I'm more in love with you.
vote yes or no. Do you like the ad breaks that we've done this? Should we do more like that? That's what I need to know.
I think
I'm having fun.
So
we're being more authentically ourselves.
We absolutely are. So I'm Frank. What's your name?
Well, okay, Craig and I have this thing that we do that we're Frank and Tony, and we're secretly gay lovers in the mafia. So we go, hey Frank, hey Tony, and we're like, come here Tony, give me a kiss. And I don't know why.
I'm not sure I can channel that.
We've been riffing that for like a year. We love it. And so that's why Frank came out of my mouth.
Okay. Well, you know what? You guys tell us. What should our announcer names be?
I would love to keep calling you Frank. I like that.
I'll be Frankie.
And what you just have to come. What do you feel like? Sandy? No.
Bobby.
Ooh, I like that. Bobby here with another announcement. Yep, it feels good. It feels right.
It's your boy Frank.
It's your boy Frank, your boy Bobby.
SNL. We've got 2.
When you're ready for Goddess Hangs to host SNL, we are ready.
Oh my God.
I'm putting that on my vision board.
Your best. Well, and Craig's got to host first.
Nah.
We can slip his headshot under the door.
Look.
Oh, Boo's,
I got a comedian for you, but
Boo's stretching. Are you ready to wake up now?
Boo's like, are we done recording? We've
All right.
got 2 minutes before.
Well, we love you all.
We love you all.
Much.
We can't wait to see you with your intuitive magic oracle decks. We can't wait to see you wearing the jewelry and match with us. We can't wait to chat with you all more inside of the BFF Patreon. And we will see you next week.
We are at Goddess Hangs. I am at Juliet.Piper.
I am Sadie Olson. Make sure you're following us.
See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.